Hey guys, how's it going? It's Rob Sutton. We're back here with another video today. And as you can see in the title, I'm going to try to convince you to wear knee pads on every single ride, no matter which terrain you're riding. So let's get at it. So before we get started in the knee pads specifically, I want to talk about mountain biking protection gear in general. Cyclists, for some reason, have always been hesitant about doing more protection gear versus less. I remember back in the day when even my Lycra wearing friends were like, why are you wearing baggies? I don't know, because when I fall, I don't want to be half naked if I hit a rock. Something about protection gear has just been one of those things that is really hard to come over the hump with mountain bikers and other cyclists. So knee pads are no different. So for me, when it comes to protection gear, I'm looking at a ratio much like I look at insurance. I love insurance when it's there when I need it, but I do not want it taking too much money out of my pocket. Same with protection gear with mountain biking. I love it when I need it, but I don't want it taking away from the ride completely either. So I'm looking at this ratio with everything I wear. I want as much protection as I can get without some discomfort that's going to take away from the ride. So with all that said, let's take a look at this short clip of me riding about a week and a half ago, which is the source of this red mark on this knee pad that's already been washed already. Yeah. So as you can see by the footage, I was coming off a rock drop. GoPro footage really flattens everything out. I soared about 10, 12 feet-ish and landed in the gully on the wall of the gully instead of in the center. So when it ended up happening, as you already saw, I went OTB for a pretty long ways. Now, I ended up hitting my knee on this knee pad right on a route on the trail that still has soreness today, a week and a half later, with the knee pad on. So you can imagine if I didn't have the knee pad on at all. So these trails that we were riding are just about an hour away from the house, and they're in the South Appalachian Mountains. There's some pretty good elevation change. There's a little bit of technical riding out there. It's actually pretty nice. We've been riding there for as long as I can remember. However, it's not a place that you would overly think, hey, I've got to put on a bunch of protection gear, full face helmet. It's just not like that. It's just backwoods trail riding. But since I was wearing knee pads, it did save my knee from taking the brunt of the entire hit. So let's talk about why I think you should be wearing knee pads on every single ride, regardless of the terrain. So let's take a little trip back in time first. Back in 06, 07, 08, back in my gravity dropper days, which was the only dropper postage you could actually buy, I was wearing 661 Kyle Straight knee pads. Now, they were the only ones that weren't pure dedicated knee pads on the market. They had a hard shell to them, they were neoprene and had padding on both sides. They were the only option that you could actually pedal with that wasn't just like strap-on catcher's gear. So there were some pretty major downsides to these knee pads. One, they were hot because they had a lot of material to them. Two, they had a hard shell on the front. That hard shell made it so that your knee would actually chafe to the inside of the pad when your knees started to sweat. There was just a lot of things that just made them uncomfortable for longer trail rides. Now, I ran gravity droppers back in the day and those knee pads because I saw the benefit that outweighed the uncomfortableness at the time. But things are a lot different now, so let's talk about it. So now when it comes to mountain biking knee pads, you get options like this. I've got these Troy Lee here and the POC. There are several other manufacturers that do the exact same thing, but they're basically looking at more malleable rubber or plastic fronts that are in a lot lighter casing that is a lot more comfortable on the knee. So what you end up with is a knee pad that does not take away from the ride as much as those old 661s do. Half the time, I don't even remember they are there. So that ratio that I look at protection and comfort is a lot more on the favorable side for knee pads than it used to be in the past. I even talked to some friends of mine about why they don't wear knee pads now when we used to do rides together on really technical terrain when they would actually wear the 661s, and their answers were all the same. Those Kyle Straights are really uncomfortable if we're going to get into those 12, 17, 20, 25, 30-mile rides. But now, with the new knee pads out, it's not nearly the same as it was in the past. So when it comes to those oh shit situations, you've actually got some protection now that does not take away from the ride like it used to before. So now let's talk about two fringe benefits that actually come with wearing knee pads out on your ride. We have been talking a lot lately about vented full face helmets and the benefits that these enduro helmets can have when you're out trail riding. The same goes for knee pads. You get an extra boost of confidence knowing that you have some protection on possibly the most exposed area of your body if you're going to go down. So what can you do? You can berm in harder, you can throw your knee out in the technical terrain a little bit harder, knowing that if you actually go down, you have some extra protection on what most likely will be the first part of your body to contact with a rock, root, or anything else on the ground. It's just that added insurance mentally that allows you push it on a trail a little bit harder than you might have otherwise. The other second fringe benefit of this is we're heading into fall and winter riding season. So why are you going to put on knee warmers when you could just put on knee pads? Even if they breathe a lot better than the old ones, they still protect better than knee warmers. So if you want a little extra warmth on a joint that is going to be moving the entire ride, you might as well just go ahead and put knee pads on and have the extra protection while you're out on your ride. So what I want to know from you guys is, are you wearing knee pads now? If you are, which brand and why? And if you're not wearing knee pads, I want to hear from that as well down in the comments section below. If you guys like this video and want more like this in the future, please give this a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Bike 198. We will be doing a lot more reviews, tutorials, and thought pieces here very soon. So until then, on to the next one. Thank you guys. See ya.